Let us move on to the Leader of the Alberta Liberal Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Alberta Liberals wish to thank Alberta's social workers, frontline staff, and foster parents who go above and beyond to rescue vulnerable children. Mr. Speaker, the issue we've been discussing this week isn't them. Rather, the problems caused by this government covering up, or shall I say, not reporting the true number of children who died in care. This Conservative government has lost public trust and credibility on this issue. To the Premier, what do you think is going to restore public confidence? A chit-chat run by your secretive government or an independent, impartial judicial inquiry?
Mr. Speaker, if the honourable member is actually concerned about getting better outcomes in the child welfare system, then we welcome his participation. Because since this government has been formed, Mr. Speaker, we have introduced Children's First legislation. We have an independent child and youth advocate, which is one of the reasons we can talk about these issues in the House today, Mr. Speaker. We've ensured that every fatality is reported and investigated, Mr. Speaker. That is how we improve the system, and that's how we take care of kids, not righteous indignation on the part of the leader.
Mr. Speaker, the Alberta Liberal call, or shall I say the United Opposition call, for an inquiry is not about placing blame on anyone.
Right.
An independent, impartial judicial inquiry is the best way to allow the facts to come out. Only then can we find the best solutions, restore trust and confidence in the system, and improve the safety of children and care. This is our goal and should be the government's goal. To the Premier, why won't you restore trust and confidence in the system by calling for an independent, impartial judicial inquiry? What are you afraid of?
Actually, Mr. Speaker, I think it's almost unanimous now in the calls I've had from experts in the field that the roundtable that we're proposing is a much better way to bring all the important issues to the table, have an expert discussion together with lived experience, and have all the voices there, and actually move forward to create the best possible policy for children in this province. And that's what we're going to do, Mr. Speaker, because that's what Albertans deserve.
Honourable Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the Minister raised a very important issue. The fact of the matter is 78% of the children who died in care were of First Nations heritage, and responsibility for them is shared between the federal government, the First Nations, and the provincial government. I've written to the Prime Minister asking him to investigate the deaths of the Aboriginal children in care. To the Premier, will you join me in bringing the federal government, the First Nations, and the province of Alberta to the table through an independent public judicial inquiry so we can finally get some answers and solutions? Premier?
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, if the honourable member actually wanted to add voice and value to this discussion, what he should do is write to the Prime Minister and ask him to fund the DFNAs at the same level that Child and Family Service Authorities are funded. That's where the federal government could really step up. All of the deaths of children in care have been investigated, and Mr. Speaker, we have jurisdiction in that area. We do have jurisdiction in that area. The Child and Family, the Child and Youth Advocate can investigate those. He doesn't need the federal government's help to do that. But the resources for on reserves, now that would be really nice.